Okay, we are live. Hello, everybody. Hello again. For those of you who are tuning in straight from the ratings, welcome to the Blue Abroad Show. Welcome to off season. Welcome back, Joe. Hey, mate.
Good to be here. It's been a while.
Back to back, mate. Sunday into
Back to back
Monday.
nights. Yeah, back to back. That's usually how it works now with me, is it not?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's good. We finished up. Well, almost finished up. We finished up with our last sort of review episode last night. We'll take some time off now, and then we'll do a little trade recap and draft preview in sort of late October, and then that's it for the year for ABB. But it's been a shit year. That's all I can say. It's been rubbish.
It's interesting because, like, obviously the last few weeks, we're just putting our anger to the side for a hot moment. You don't get angry at the kids. Let the kids play. Get around the kids. But pretty quickly, I don't think you can summarize this season without starting with disgusting or disappointing. Like, it can't be glossed over.
We all graded the season last night. We all said it was an F.
Really.
How can it not be?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, regardless of how many injuries, or you can come up with 1,000 excuses as to why we finished where we finished, but at the end of the day, we didn't play finals. We went backwards at a rate of knots, and our off field was the worst it's ever been. So there's nothing else other than an F that you can really give it, to be honest.
Yeah. What round did you guys do your short show? Which round was that?
That was Richmond, round one.
Was it?
It was. It was. That set the tone, really.
Wow. It has been a long year, but I also feel like I've blinked and it's come and gone.
It has been a quick season, but it's felt like forever because of how excruciatingly painful some of these weeks have been. Like, honestly, I have erased so much of this season week to week from my memory in terms of like the actual games. I couldn't tell you who we played in certain rounds at what point in the season and what the results were. Like it was just like it was like being in a fever dream, mate. It was weird.
I was doing the season the player reviews started today with Jack Silvani, right? And I was going through his highlights, and I forgot that he was playing forward against Hawthorn early in the season. Like, completely forgot that he had drifted forward. And yeah, it's going to be a bit like that. I think when we played Port Adelaide last week, when I was doing the preview, I had forgotten everything that happened the first time we played them. It's usually I'm pretty pedantic with moments and memories with games, but yeah, I don't think I'll be remembering a lot of this season moving forward.
No, there's nothing to remember. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know. There is not a single like poignant highlight from the season. There's not one, honestly. Like, usually there'd be like a moment that you can sort of reflect on and go, oh, how good was that in that game? How good was that? Like, there was nothing, absolutely nothing.
yeah. Well, today's Monday, the 25th of August. Maybe we'll start with the breaking news because the people are asking for it. The latest on the Blues is around Aaron Hamill. So maybe we can just quickly play this clip.
Coach Aaron Hamill departing the club. Chief Football Reporter Tom Morris joins us live with those details. And Tom, sadly, the first of many, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's right, Tony. Absolutely. I can tell you tonight that assistant coach at the Blues, Aaron Hamill, he's opted out of his contract for 2026 at Icon Park. Now, Hamill spent 4 years under Michael Voss at the Blues, largely looking after team defence and the back line. I called him tonight to confirm, and he elected not to elaborate further, but did confirm that he would pursue other opportunities, perhaps outside footy, maybe in his role as director of the Shane Warne legacy. Now, either way, he's highly regarded in the football world, and I'm sure there'll be interest from other clubs. Now, the AFL has locked in its round 24 fixture.
Right. So that's the story there. Aaron Hamill departs the club. Maybe the first of a few more to come. Yeah. Did you expect that one? He was one of the few I think he and Ash Hansen were the only two contracted.
Yeah, I mean, I was expecting, I think like many was expecting he and Ash Hansen to stay, but hey, you know what? See you later. I mean, he's been there for how long as well, right? Like, this is, I don't know. I think I said to you a little while ago, I'm not tied to anything emotionally with this club right now. Nothing. So as long as these moves I'm just going to back in the process of Graham Wright at this point. So if Aaron Hamill's gone, whether it be of his own volition or Graham Wright's decision, don't care at this point. See you later. Let's move on.
Yeah, fair. We'll get onto that. We've got a few more things to get through. Joe, why don't we start with Thursday night while we're here? I'm very mindful of not repeating your show last night, so I do want to get your take on Thursday, and I want to get the audience involved as well. We will dive into off-season chat after this, but maybe for those of you playing along at home, Joe, what was your biggest takeaway from the final game? Of all the things that you spoke about and thought about, what was your biggest takeaway? And chat, let us know in the comments. What was your biggest takeaway?
Biggest takeaway is that Frankie Evans is the best player in the AFL right now in the last month.
Ooh.
That's it.
Ooh.
I think actually based on his player rating over the last month of football, he is the 6th best player in the AFL. That is a fact. I read that today. So what I'm saying isn't actually that far out of the question. He's been phenomenal to finish the year. And I said this a couple of weeks ago. It's just very when you reflect on maybe how many people jumped the gun on a few players early on. It's very important to note what a full pre-season can give a player and what a little bit of time to find some form if they didn't have a pre-season can give a player, because a lot of people wrote off, it's not just Evans, but a lot of people wrote off Frankie. I think me included, particularly early on. But by God, when he came back in, I think it was after the Collingwood game, potentially. From that point on, he just did not look back. So, he has just stepped up to a level that you would hope he can. And again, I'll preface this by saying it's only the last month of footy, and there was no pressure or expectation on this team, and we played some pretty dour opposition. But you would hope that he can continue that into next year, because it was some of the football he was producing was genuinely insane.
Yeah. I think generally speaking, you find the blessings after the disaster.
Yeah. Great.
And so I think what I've found this year is, I mean, you look at the Francis Evans example, right? So he wasn't a popular name when he first got to the club. Oh, what's Voss doing? Oh, he didn't pick Liam McMahon. Oh, this, oh, that. This is like one of the first years where almost absolutely every player has copped it one way or another. And we've gotten to this point now where we're playing guys who we didn't really know much about. We knew a little bit about Matt Carroll, but not a lot. You know, Wilson, a lot of debutants, a lot of fresh names, and hopefully it's the start of something next year. And we can talk about, I mean, Voss sort of mentioned it in his press conference around these guys get opportunities to play, learn the game, learn the speed of the game. And then next year when there's senior players around them, we don't have to think about whether or not they're ready to play. And if, you know, we can start having, dare I say it, some selection integrity.
Well, yeah, and I mean, just to build on the Frankie point, and that players have been, you know, whipped at certain points of the season. Sam Walsh is another one. I never jumped off him. I can say that hand on heart. But he was one that people wanted to trade because apparently Cooper Lord could step in and do the job that Walsh could do. Cooper will be a great player for us and a very solid player. But, mate, if you want to talk about what I learnt on Thursday, I learnt that Sam Walsh is an absolute freak of a footballer when he's got his legs under him and when he's got a little bit of a prep leading into games. Like he had the better part of maybe the last 6 weeks off prior to last week. And you can see when he comes back in and he's fresh and he's had a block where his body's maybe feeling better than what it was without that preseason. And he's just, that's the quality that we know that he can produce. So, you know, absolutely right. Gav's right. It can turn very quickly, but you just got to trust in and I'll preface it with this because I don't want to contradict myself later when we get into off-season talk. But if a player wants to be there, and Walsh has made it very clear that he wants to be here, give them the benefit of the doubt. That's where it starts with me. And just give them the benefit of the doubt to show that when they're at their absolute best. Because Walsh, he wasn't at his best, but form's temporary, class is permanent. And that if there's anything that you can take out of this season, it's that, you know, while it was absolutely piss poor in terms of results in the end, I think, again, as a collective, we probably we're too quick to judge based on a week-to-week reaction with players individually. I think as a whole, to be honest, I think as a whole, it's the first time across a season where I thought the fans stayed somewhat level-headed. Like, if that makes sense, it didn't feel, well, for me personally, it didn't feel like as much a week-to-week proposition. It was a bit more about the bigger picture. But I think on players and individuals, mate, the roller coaster just continued, and we've just got to stop doing it. Like, you just can't make your mind up as quickly as what we do.
Yeah. If you had to describe the season in one word, what would it be? You and everyone. One word.
Fucked.
Oh, yeah?
What else are you going to say, mate? It was like from day one, your president gets his dick out, and then where are we going from there? Seriously, it was like, if in hindsight, right, that happens. Newman does his knee, Jagger does the ACL, Harry's out, personal health, Elijah's out, personal health. Like, the writing was on the wall literally from day one that this was not going to be the year. It just was never going to be the year. So it was fucked. I don't know how else. That is literally all I've been able to say to people when they've asked me what they thought about the year.
I would say busted. We got busted. We got busted in all regards. We were found out. We weren't the team that we thought we were. We didn't have the leadership at board level that we thought we did. We didn't have the right pieces that we thought we did. Didn't have the right game plan. We didn't have the right coaches. We didn't have the right attitude. And we got busted.
Yeah, I'm with you. But I as bad as what we've just described it, both of us, I would challenge anyone to give me any organisation in this league that would have come out unscathed from what transpired across this year, across multiple layers in this football club. Off field, on field, TDK drama hanging over everyone's head, and then Sauce, and then there's Charlie rumours, and has Voss got a job, has he not? Give me one club that would have come out of all of that unscathed. And there's not one. If you put any club in this league under the sort of pressure that we felt, like literally week in, week out, across the year, across so many different levels, I can't name you one that would survive it without a couple of bruises. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
It's bad, man.
It's pretty bad. We've got incompetent, a calamity. We've got a balagan. We've got numbing. Yeah, humbled. Humbled's a good one. We did get humbled again. Tiring. Yeah, disappointment.
Tiring.
So,
it was very tiring.
So I guess this depends on, are you a glass half full, glass half empty kind of person, or are you look forward or look back? So when I ask you this question, was this season a step forward, a step back, or were we standing still, and why?
I think time will tell, but for now I'm going to say we stood still. Even though results-wise we went backwards, and even though it felt like as much of a disaster as it was, my hope is that we're standing still, and it's a transitional period for us to genuinely explode next year. And I'm not saying that we're going to. For that to happen, this off-season is so critical. Like, I cannot stress enough, this is the most critical off-season this football club has ever had coming up. If we don't get this right, we're going to go backwards at a rate of knots. If we get it right, I think there's the potential there for us to absolutely explode next year and beyond.
Yeah. I can't help but think we went backwards, but then when I think of the fact that we actually started not playing the plays we needed to not play the plays we needed to see, there were revelations in the list that I didn't realize were there to the level that they were. Moving forward, it could be a step in the right direction. We definitely didn't go forward. That's for sure.
No, absolutely not.
It's just so weird because if you're looking at the first half of the year, it's definitely a step backwards because you're just like, all right, well, this is the list that was top four for two-thirds of last year. And that was so close, and they just fell away with injury. And then pretty quickly it unraveled, which in a way I'm glad it did. There was no false dawns about what the year was. And now we're literally seeing the department shake up. When you really strip it down, though, I mean, we had an incoming CEO who we're going to hand the reins over to. Maybe we should have just known all along. It was always going to be a year of transition.
Well, mate, we had no CEO. Like literally, we had no CEO. Really, when you think about it. So there's there is. I've said this to so many people. We had no president, right? Because Priestley came in halfway through the year or whatever it was, and it's like whatever. He's new to the role. Really, you don't have a leader there. You got no head of footy because Brad Lloyd's been missing for the better part of the last 3 years, and he was always outgoing. Brian Cook, he'd already had 1 foot out the door. Couldn't have really cared less what happened with the club after this year. And Graham Wright hadn't started at that point. And then you got a head coach that's under fire. So where was the leadership ever going to come from, really, for the football club when there's so much volatility in your key leadership departments? Like, I don't know. For me, where it turned for me, genuinely, I'd given up completely on this club, not just this year, but just thinking it's over. Like, I'm not doing this again. I can't go through another rebuild. Where it clicked for me and where it turned is when we publicly backed in our head coach. That's when it turned for me. And I went, you know what? I actually believe again, because that's something that a good organization. That's a decision. That's a tough decision. Okay, that an organisation would make. The easy decision would be to scapegoat him like we've done in the past, and then we start again. The tough decision is to keep him, let him see out his contract, and bet on him. Bet on him coming out of...
Build a department. Like, actually do it for the first time.
Build something around him and bet on him turning this around quickly next year. That's the tough decision. So when I saw that we made the tough decision, I went, okay, I can now jump back on board knowing that Graham Wright sees that we're actually not that far away. There's a couple of pieces that need to move. This is how I'm looking at it now. For me, there's a couple of pieces that need to move around your head coach. You get that right, we can get back to what we were 2 years ago very quickly. Very, very quickly. But like I said, all those pieces still need to fall into place, mate. They still need to fall into place. And that's why it's a tough decision, because now you're looking at so many different layers to change in an off-season, and not just one major one like, go and get John Longmire. He's the Messiah. It'll be fine in 2-3 years' time. This is the tough path.
Yeah.
And usually, the toughest decisions usually yield the best results from if you want to look at especially the history of this league.
Which player's development gave you the most hope?
I would have said Harry O'Farrell, but I don't know if you can still say that, to be honest. That was probably the biggest disappointment this year. Outside of O'Farrell, I'll say Lockie Cowan, actually. Yeah. He's a future leader. He could actually be a future captain of this club one day, from the way that, if we want to talk about how someone leads on the field. We don't know a lot about what he's like off field just yet. We don't really hear from him too much. But in terms of a leader on field for a kid that young, I am very, very impressed with how he holds himself. Very impressed.
Yeah. He was definitely mine in terms of development. When he came back in after the hamstring, he was... Yeah, I think he had a taste of the VFL after, and I think he remembered why he never wanted to play in the VFL again, and he kind of played like it as well.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. Frank the Tank getting lots of love lately.
Yeah, I tried to buy a badge. I tried to buy a Frankie badge for my sister. They were sold out after the game. Way. I'm actually not joking. You couldn't get a Francis Evan badge at the ground.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is absolutely insane. Which player do you think had the most disappointing season?
Charlie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll say Charlie. Not just because of his on-field performance, but I think the way he held himself as a leader, as part of that leadership group, I was very, very disappointed by the end of, by particularly his last game, but sitting here now.
You expected more.
If you're going to be appointed to the leadership group, act like a leader. And we're not seeing it. I'm happy to call it out now. I'm not saying that he's done as a footballer, but the way that he holds himself, on the field, when we see him for the 120 minutes that we see him in a week, for me, it's just that's not the mark of a leader. It's just not. You put him and Wiedering side by side, and you can see the stark difference in how each of them lead on game day and lead their line on game day.
Yeah, I would probably say either of the big boys. Now, I know Harry had some nice performances or okay, efforts in the last couple of games, and I know that he struggled early in the year with some personal issues, and I know Charlie also had 2 surgeries in preseason, which impacted him as well. But yeah, I think the big boys were the biggest disappointment in terms of their output. Now you look at the reasons why, what happened, mitigating like circumstances, like of course, but bottom line, I thought Mackay, we really missed his impact and just really missed him, his competitiveness. And yeah, I think you could pick either of the boys, either of the big 2 up forward.
Agree.
I just want to look at our goals while I've got it here. Yeah, okay. So Charlie's kicked 32 and Harry's kicked 22 for the year. Like who else kicked 22? Do you know?
Our goal kickers?
Yeah, have a guess. Someone else kicked 22 goals.
Was it Zach?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was Zach.
Yeah, I thought it was Zach. He had a great year. Hey, Zach was very, very quietly underrated for us this year. And particularly when he started pinch hitting in the middle. I think it was the Collingwood game when we first saw that again from him. I think he was the highest rated player on the ground that night from like 60-something% game time in the second game against Collingwood. And he was quietly very, very consistent week in, week out. I think he played 20-plus games. Is that right? Which is the first time I remember that from Zach for a long time.
Yeah, he played the 19. 19 this year and 19 last year.
Well, there you go. So he's starting to string together some consistency in terms of his availability, which is good. And I think if you get a full preseason into him going into a contract year, you'd probably expect Zach to be right up there again next year as having one of his better years. You hope so. Because when he's up and running, we look good. It
was interesting because Jesse was next. Jesse Motlop kicked 17 goals, 18 behind. So when you actually like break it down, he's played every game this year. And I know he's got his knockers, and I get it. He didn't have a great year. I understand. Kicked 17 goals, 18 behinds. In his second year, he kicked 24 goals and 7 behinds. He was extremely accurate. So he's had more scoring shots this year than that year. Obviously,
where do you sit with Jesse?
In what context?
How did you see his year, and are you offering him a deal next year?
Yeah, I'm keeping Jesse. I think Jesse played in the role that he played out of necessity. I don't think that was the plan. That's my best guess. I don't think this was the plan.
He played the Fantasia role. Role, and he's not suited for it. I think if you give Jesse a full season as a small forward, like a pure small forward, just play as a small forward, get creative inside our 50, different player. I'm with you.
So I'm not so harsh on Jesse. Like I know he's been in the system for 4 seasons now, but the big thing for him, if you remember last year, he missed a lot of footy because he kept having the recurring hamstring. And it's like, mate, you got to play. We need you available. So this year he was available. He just struggled with form,
Agree.
So yeah.
Bang on.
Ooh. No,
what are you saying?
I've already kind of asked that. I was going to ask you. It's a similar question. All right. As we look to the off season now, right? Where is the list, in your opinion? Where is it really at? So are we contenders? Are we still a piece or two away? Are we in a mini rebuild? Are we a blood transfusion? We've all created these terms because we don't want to use the word rebuild, or we want to use the word mini rebuild, or little this, little that. Where do you actually see the team? Is it an underperforming contender, or is it something more long term?
The list is too top heavy.
The list is too top heavy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we unearthed 7 debutants this year. 7, which is a lot for a club that should have been in the window. Okay. However, in that middle bracket, we have stripped this list back, and I said this at the start of the year, and it was a concern I had coming in. We stripped this list back very quickly to the point that I don't think a lot of us recognised it for what it was over the last 2 years. Go back and look at our list when we made the prelim, okay? And go count how many of those players are no longer on the list. Then go have a look at who they were replaced with. The likes of a Marchbank, a Martin, a Cunningham, Dow, Fisher, Owies, Kennedy. There's 7 there that I've named alone, right? Now, a lot of those players, people will tell me they were no good, they were never available. I disagree. Go look at those 7 players and what they did for us in that run to the prelim, okay? So they were available. All 7 of those were available during that time. We cut them from the list and fair enough, it's not that I would have kept them, but we didn't replace them with any experience. We didn't replace them with the same quality of experience in terms of time in the AFL, age profile. We replaced them with young players, whether that be supplemental picks, mid-season picks, high draft picks, whatever it was. And this is now the fruits of our labour. When you go after young talent and you don't replace your experienced players with experience, unfortunately, you're going to become top heavy. This is where we're at. We have no depth past the 10th player on our list that you can comfortably rely on to get the job done week in and week out. So that's how and it's funny because I had this exact conversation with Dan in pre-season, and I said we're either going to be really good and our top player is going to carry us, or we're going to be really poor and our depth is going to be exposed. And it was very, very quickly and very notably evident that our depth was exposed early on in the season, very early on in the season.
Well, we definitely wanted to put games into these youngsters. We wanted to see what Wilson and Moya and Carroll were about. That's a fact. That's a reality. We didn't go for the Houston last year. We went for the Jagger Smith. Well, for the pick 3. They'll say
which is great. Hey, long term, it's going to make sense, mate. This will pay off in spades long term. I guarantee it. But
I don't remember where you sat. What did you think at the time of the Houston v Jagger debate? And do you think we'd be in a worse position now if we had have gone Houston?
I wanted us to try and get both. I think the Pies overpaid for Houston at the time, and I think that's showing now. I think they're going to be worse off long term. That's pretty evident where their list is going to be at in a few years. But no, I was all for trading up the draft board. But at the time, I was also probably a little bit disillusioned about where we were at, and I initially thought we're getting a kid into a system that's going to be contending for a flag. So now, not that that's not going to be the case next year or the year after, it could still be, but if you go back and really look at how far we stripped back the list quickly with some players that played a role in our success, and that's the part here, because I know a lot of people will go, Marchbank never played, Cunningham never played, what are you talking about? Those players that we cut took us to a prelim.
Yeah, they did, and they weren't replaced.
They absolutely, and they were not replaced. So they were replaced, but they just weren't replaced with the same impact and quality that they brought in that season and in that half of the season. So you strip that back, we're the same football club that we were prior to that. We were struggling to win games consistently. It's the same environment, but we're now just younger and more inexperienced than what we were.
No, I totally get what you mean, because when we had those players, when they were out, we were basically waiting for them to get fit to bring them straight back into the team as soon as we possibly could. So, this time last year, I still remember saying, I remember conversations from the fans and us in the community, stop playing always, put the games into dirt and a motlop, it'll pay us back. I still remember that conversation happening. So I think Jack Martin was, let's put games into Moya. Maybe that'll, he just needed a little bit more time than what we thought.
Look at what Jack Martin is doing at Geelong.
Yeah.
Right? Because he's another one that people will go, he never played. How can you say that we didn't replace him? We've got players that played more games than him this year than he ever did. It's wrong. Look at what he's doing at Geelong. I heard today on the radio, they're discussing Jack Martin as the guy that could win Geelong a flag because he is that impact player in finals. And all you need is 10 games out of him. Now, I'm not saying that we should have kept him. Right? Unfortunately, he never gave us the output consistently for what we probably required in that position. He's a luxury at Geelong because of their depth. He's a luxury. We don't have that luxury because we haven't created the depth that they've created over a number of years on their list.
Yeah. See this comment a lot about the 2023. It's like we caught lightning in a bottle. So what do you call the first 17 rounds of the following season when they continued it
Yeah.
on?
And when we were flagged favourites after beating Geelong by 63 points.
Yeah. It wasn't just the end of that year. It was the follow-on from the following year.
Mhm.
Yeah. So in your mind, do we back in the current core or is it bold trades needed?
Bold,
move.
baby.
Really?
Bold.
You're a
I
bold
am firmly in the camp that if you do not want to commit to this club's success, fuck off. See you later. I don't care who you are. Tez, I'm dead set. I don't care. Bold. This is the time. I'm telling you, this is the time.
Mate,
And
Do me a favor, please.
I'm more,
Get out of here. Get out of here, man. Shit, I'm saying.
yeah. Now, I'm not talking, there's comments here about moving on Deadwood and list. I'm talking list cloggers. That's not bold. That's not bold. No.
have you got anyone in mind?
Do we want to go? Are we going into this now, or are we doing this? We're going to do that later in the show.
We can do it now. We can do it a bit of both. Like, have you got a player or
Where there is smoke, there is fire. If Charlie does not want to be at this football club, see you later. Go get what you can for him now. Go capitalise on his value. Let them get the best out of Charlie Curnow. And I'll say it like this: whether it's Charlie, whether it's Tom, whether it's Sauce, I don't care who it is. If they don't want to play for the football club, we're not going to get the best out of them at the football club.
Oh, no. Just as you say that, there's a fresh report about Charlie.
Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Start wrapping your heads around it. I'm telling you now, where there is this much smoke, there's a big, big fire.
Ready?
Let's go.
Charlie Curnow, I believe, is going to have some strong words to say at his exit interview tomorrow. Now, I can't predict exactly what is going to happen, but my view is that Charlie is still eyeing an exit from the football club. I know he has stated that he's not leaving the club, but we know he showed interest in going up to the Gold Coast, where I think it would be hard to do a deal and perhaps not the need. But my view is that the Sydney Swans are shaping up as a possible home for Charlie Curnow. Not the first time, of course. They've lured a big fish, a big full-forward fish, up to Sydney, and we know they had huge success every other time they've done it. I just think that Charlie Curnow has just not been super happy at Carlton. He has some issues with the football club. I know you're better than me at explaining how the deal can get done, and it won't be easy to do.
So you think he'll ask for a trade? You think he's that far progressed where he'll walk back what he said and we'll ask?
I'm not prepared to say that, but I know he's going to air some.
Fuck off, mate. Say it. If you're going to report it, say it. This is what shits me.
Grievances, and I think it's not beyond the realms, nor do I think it's necessarily beyond the realms of Graham Wright and his crew to entertain it.
What are his grievances?
Well, look, I just
what's he
think
unhappy with?
I think there's obviously just some concerns about the direction of the club. I don't think it's Michael Voss
We built the club around him.
necessarily. I don't think the players were disappointed when Michael Voss was guaranteed by the club for next year. And I think that the club will probably point out to Charlie that there will be a new direction in the footy department, as we know. But look, I can't go into too many details. I just know that Charlie is looking at a life outside of Melbourne and outside of Victoria.
Do you know what annoys me? And it's really starting to annoy me is these players that sign long-term contracts, end of 2029. He was clearly comfortable in Melbourne when he signed that long-term deal, and then a couple of years into it, I've had enough.
What about
I've
clubs
run
who
out.
make
So-
promises to players?
So after
who
round
don't-
20, he said he was in for good. So I mean, we haven't heard him come out and say that he's asking for
No,
a
but
trade.
I believe what Caro is saying. So this is what he said.
Yeah.
I don't really want to make about me, but I'm playing at Carlton next year. There you go, done.
That's pretty emphatic, isn't
So
it?
if you're
Yeah,
Michael
well-
Voss, who's the coach under the
and
most
Charlie
pressure,
Curnow might well, by tomorrow, go and say, look, I have some real issues with the club. And, you know, I'd like you to tell me how they're, you know, how things are going to be fixed and what our direction is going to be. But I see Sydney as a suitor, and I see Charlie Curnow as not definitely
But
done.
if you had Michael Voss, you're going, why would I trade you? I'm the coach under the most pressure, unless it is something unbelievable. One of their stars,
so what is
Warner,
something?
Heaney, Goulden, and a pick. Why would Michael Voss, who needs his best players on the park to survive in this job as the coach under the most pressure, would he do this deal? There's not a world in which Sydney would give up Heaney, Goulden, or Warner.
Do you think it's a top four
that.
list? Carlton's got a top four list?
No.
Can I just say something, right? Like, with respect, of course, right? Like, is this the state of AFL? That she has not given anything other than her opinion. She thinks, not like what's happened to journalism? Is that what we're competing against? Is that really it?
No, do you know what it's because of the way that social media has dictated that these once respected journalists to become clickbait seekers. Like that's all it is these days. Doesn't matter if it's on TV or if it's on Instagram. Everyone's searching for clicks. Everyone's searching for views. Like, you shouldn't read too much into reporting unless someone really comes out and says, "I've been told." You know, I am reporting that. When it's I believe, it's as much as me coming on here saying, "Yeah, I reckon the sun won't come up tomorrow." Take that as truth. Like, it's the same thing. So I wouldn't read too much into that. But again, like I said, there's a lot of smoke around this. I'm telling you now, it's not dead. There is a reason this is being reported on and why it's been reported on for so long.
It screams his management.
But what are they trying to achieve? Because he's got a long-term contract with us. So what are they trying to achieve by putting us under pressure?
This is the part that's like wigging me out. I mean, okay, was he mismanaged last year? I would say he was.
Yep.
With the ankle thing. Now, I don't know. Again, we're guessing. I don't know the details of how much was that Charlie saying, "Hey, I'm sore, but I'm going to push through," and how much was it the club saying, or Charlie saying, "I want to rest," and the club saying, "No, you have to play." I don't know. We won't know. But there was clearly, I would say, mismanagement last year with his injury. This year, I mean, he had an ankle reconstruction and he had the screw taken out of his knee from a previous surgery. He just didn't get going, but Charlie lost his spark. So I get it from that point of view. There's a bit of unrest and he might not be happy, but like, we got to weed out. I mean, I don't know if it's petulance or if it's something actually is wrong. And, you know,
we're going to find out. But I'm telling you now, if it's true, if there's any truth to it, and he can't commit 100% to the success of this club going forward, I'll ask you this question. Let's say he does want out. Let's say there is a part of him that wants out of the club, that his heart's not with Carlton anymore. Do you want him?
If he doesn't want to be here, of course, I would say do what we can to get a deal done, because you need people that are invested. And Charlie's the type of player, he's so infectious. So when he's on, he brings others with him. And when he's not on, he probably drags others down because his energy's not, whatever he is, he's contagious. I just break it down as really simple as we had a fucking disgusting year. We were let down by leadership at the very top of the football club. We had horrific injuries. We had poor performances. The team was shit. Charlie had a bad preseason and a non-existent preseason. And it was just like one thing on top of the other. And it was just a really, really bad year for everyone involved. That's my guess. And then we're all guessing on this show and in the chat. And it's funny because we have more accountability with the way that we're speaking about the situation than these professionals. I don't know. I'm just trying to simplify it as well, as much as possible. He just had a bad year and an injury interrupted year.
Sure. And I said that off the top too. He was one that also had an interrupted preseason. I get it. He couldn't find his form throughout the year. Sure. But it's a long time now. A long time. Even in the first half of last year, Can you think back to a time where Charlie really looked himself? Where you were like, oh yeah, that's Charlie. He's breaking the game open, like he did against the Swans in 2022, like when he was winning Coleman medals.
Yeah, it was in spurts. So like it was in a quarter. So he kicked 3 in 10 minutes or 3 in a quarter. I think Brisbane away last year he did it. Yeah. I mean, the common denominator we're talking about here is since Ed left.
Yeah, well, 100%. I mean, they could be playing into it. It could be.
Yeah.
It could be. I mean, I remember when Ed was at the club, there was plenty of talk from the club themselves around how much their bond like helped Charlie. I remember reading about it and hearing about it, that Charlie feeds off Ed, and Ed's was this guiding presence for Charlie.
He was like the translator. Charlie's different. Yeah. He's we're all weird. And Charlie's got his own version of weird. If in actual fact, I think his personality lends to the way in which Carlton gets criticism. Because if you're someone that takes feedback on board too much, it can get inside your head. You look at Harry potentially. Whereas Charlie's like, yeah, whatever. I'm going for a surf. Like, all good.
Yep. Listen, I'm not, mate. I've been very consistent on this for the better part of the last 2-3 months. If these players, whoever it is, if you don't want to commit to the club and the success of the club going forward, we will find a home for you. That needs to be the mentality, and I think all of us need to be prepared to emotionally distance ourselves, for once, as Carlton supporters, emotionally distance ourselves from whatever decisions are going to be made in this off-season around this playing group.
Yeah.
You have to. You've got to let go. You've got to let go.
If we end up losing Tom and Silvani, I think that'll be a big learning experience for this club in moving into this new wave of footy being a job and it's a business and it's...
Well, yeah, we've never lost anyone like that, really.
No.
Of those kids that we drafted that have been there for 8+ years, 10 years, we haven't lost a single one. So it's time. Have we? This is the thing that I always come back to. With this core, which going back to your original question around breaking up this core, has this core delivered us a premiership in 10 years?
No.
So what are we all so emotionally invested in these players for? Really?
I think I think it's the idea that the core will get us there and it makes sense. And you ride their careers out, and I mean they're quality players as well. Charlie's a quality player.
We've ridden their career. He's 29 next year. Cripps is into his 30s. Wiedering is approaching 30. Mackay is 29 next year. Silvani's 28 or 29 next year. Like we have ridden their careers out. That's it. Like it was there.
Yeah. Okay. You think this is the end of them?
No, I don't. I think as a collective, I think they've done what they can. Individually, they might go and find success elsewhere in their own ways, individually. But right now, this core has had more than enough time together to bring results consistently. They're not. So something has to change.
Fair. I say this every week. Isn't it interesting when a guy turns 30 at any other club, he can seemingly get better with age, but when a guy turns 30 at Carlton, mate, get out of here, man.
The wheels fall off.
Okay, so you're thinking aggressive off-season and make sure you get it right.
As aggressive as we need to be with the players that make it clear they don't want to commit to the success of this football club ongoing.
I watched Errol Goulden's post-game presser after Sydney's last game, and he said, we've got to go, we're going to make some changes, we're going to get this club back to where it should be in finals. So my next question is, do we as fans have enough patience for the draft and getting kids to come through, or is it still, play and win for now?
No, we have to. I think we have to. I think what Austin's done with the kids and bringing them in over the past 2 years, since we replaced those players I was talking about before, we've actually got a young core again. It's there. Like we've got a couple of handfuls of players that are between 18 and 22 that we've all seen now that can play football. that we can trust in their development over the next few years to then step up when they need, when they reach 22, 23 to start to really produce some good football for us. We need to turn over the middle part of our list quickly. And we've got capital at the top end. This is what I'm saying. Like, we're so top heavy. And that top end hasn't delivered us anything. They might deliver another club something, but they're not going to deliver the Carlton Football Club any success at this point, not 10 years in. So I think the way that we can turn it into both a win now and a sustainable long-term view is that you've got the capital at the top end. Tom leaves, there's a first rounder. Sauce leaves, that's probably an early second, late first. And then if it is someone like a Charlie, as an example, that is put up for trade and you get maximum value for him at this point in his career, you can turn all of that capital not just into draft assets, into experienced footballers and bring them into our system quickly to then balance out that middle part of your list. Because if you don't have the role players, which we don't, and we've seen that this year, like experienced, good footballers that can play a role each week, that can help your top echelon, and that can carry your bottom six on any given day, you're not winning games of football. You're not going to be successful.
So, for you as a supporter, would you prefer the club to come out and say, "Hey, we're in a transition period. Give us, 3 to 5 years, 2 to 3 years," or will that be, "Nah, you're lowering your standards"? Because I don't think there's a reality where anything that the club does, and like they've done it to themselves, but I don't think there's a reality where anything the club says will be jumped at and fully supported. And again, I'll repeat. It's the club's fault for that.
100% it is. But Graham Wright has a clean slate that he can rewrite the narrative.
Like, do you want honesty?
Quickly.
Do you want him to come out and say, "Listen, I'm gonna be honest. Like, I'm colloquializing it a little bit more, but like, I'm gonna be honest. We're shit. We've got a lot of work to do, and it's gonna take more time." I don't know if the supporters they don't like hearing that. We don't like hearing that.
If that is the case, so if that's what Graham Wright has seen coming into the club, if that is the truth from his perspective, yeah, tell us. Whatever the truth is, I want to know. If Graham Wright believes we can turn this around quickly to be competing for finals again come next year, tell me. Be honest. If Graham Wright believes our top end just isn't good enough and we're going to gut this core completely, give us some indication that that's what's coming. And that we're going through a 3 to 5 year rebuild or whatever you want to call it.
To be fair, Voss did say we're fucking shit.
He knows what he's dealing with. I've been saying it all year. Look at the list. Look what he's got out there. We were 18th in the comp for ball use this year. We're the worst skilled list in the comp. We don't have skilled footballers. There's nothing you can do with a list that doesn't know how to use the football. That's the honesty. Everyone wants Voss to come out and say it in a press conference. That's not the reality in sport. All right, he's not going to come out and pilfer his list in a public press conference on any given week and go, "Yeah, these players are fucking shit." He's never going to say it.
He's not.
Don't expect that from him. He's going to back in his players because he needs to keep the players on board. Like, publicly, you've got to
trade to fucking Sydney at the end of the year.
Fuck, man. Like, who knows what he says behind closed doors to him? We're never going to know. But he knows. Everyone knows. Anyone that watches us knows we are shit. These players can't use the football. Our best kick inside 50 is Patrick Cripps this year. He's an inside mid. Like, fuck, man. It's not rocket science. We need footballers. Like, we just not really good quality Petrarca types. That'd be great if we could get one. But if it's not that type, give me 2 or 3 good ball users. That's it. Like a Jarman Impey, like a Carl Amon, like what Hawthorn went and got when they revitalised their list quickly. Good ball users that just play a role every single week. That's it.
I forgot about this. Do you remember this? Were you at this training session?
No.
Wow. This was the final training session before round 1, and Voss said, "I'm sorry that we can't win every game."
There you go.
I mean, he knew.
Mate, of course, he's the head coach. If anyone knows where the list is at, it's your head coach. Seriously, why do you think Graham Wright has backed him in? After being there for 12 weeks or whatever it was, looking at the whole picture, and Graham Wright sat back with Boss in the box, and he went, yeah, we're fucking shit. I agree.
Yeah. The coach can't coach skills. I believe the players have to take it on their own accord to do the extras, because every player in the competition is doing what they're doing in season, and the difference is what you do in the off season and how much you work on it.
Yep.
The work shows. It just does. The work shows, and those who put in the work get the reward. Patrick Cripps has played every game for the last 3 seasons, almost, just about. George Hewitt, known for his back issues when he came from Sydney, has played 20-plus games in 3 of the last 4 years.
Yep.
Like, it's. I mean, that's where Andrew Russell was. I mean, there was a bit that I agree with Andrew Russell, and there was a bit where I think he was pointing fingers as well. But one thing I definitely agreed with his interview in the Sacked podcast was when he said the guys that did the work got rewarded with their bodies, and the guys that didn't do enough of the work broke down. Like, that's just a fact.
And why do you think Cripps and Doc came out when we sacked Russell and made the Instagram posts that they made to thank him and to say that he was the biggest impact on their career? Because he was, but only because they were prepared to work with him.
Yeah.
There's a reason that he named Chera as an excluded Chera from that list of players that were repeatedly injured. And he said, that's just, sometimes it's just luck, and he was one of them. You know, and that can happen, but there's a lot that, and on that, why do you think when you see kids come into the side, okay, they're the ones that stand out? They are putting in the yards to get a list spot. They're not gifted anything. If they're putting in the hard yards at training, they're doing the extras as they, like these kids that don't have any experience. They're putting as much extra time into their football as they possibly can because they want to stand out. So when they get to that point, they are actually prepared because they've done those extras. There's so many players that get gifted spots week in, week out that they feel like they don't have to do the extras. And you can name 5 or 6 of them off the top of your head this year, where you look at and go, what are you possibly doing with your time to be this bad and to go this far backwards? Seriously, it's not rocket science, Tez, mate. This is sport. If you are putting in the extras and the hard yards, you'll stand out. The kids stood out this year. Our fucking leaders didn't.
Well, it was
some
funny.
of them, not all. Some of them, not all of them.
It was funny when you watch the kids who are playing with gratitude to play football. They're not thinking about their salaries. They're just like, I just want to play a game of AFL football for this club. And then you can see the others who have been in a system. And the longer you're in the system and the longer it seems that you're at Carlton, the more it seems you feel like you're entitled to or that you should have. Or it's like, well, yeah. Again, would love to know what the truth, like the actual truth is. Like the real bottom, like brutal, honest truth about what has happened is. And I don't know if they will ever really come out with it now. They've got to sell memberships. Would they be willing?
We'll get it on.
Don't you think?
We'll get it on the Blue Abroad YouTube channel when the likes of Cripps and Wiedering and Harry, they'll retire and then they're gettable for interviews. Then you can actually just say to them, what the fuck happened? And they'll tell you. I'm telling you, that is when we'll find out. We'll find out when all of this is done, what actually happened during this period.
True. I actually think if the full brutal honesty came out and they say, we fucked it, you'd get people more on side than what you would believe.
Probably. I don't know. But
do you have expectations already for next year, or do you have to wait and see what the final list looks like?
No, you've got to wait. Like I said, this off season is so critical. Like it goes one of 2 ways, and we're gonna know very quickly whether or not the club believes we are in a win now period, or whether we are in a long term 3 to 5 year view again, based on the moves that we make. If we move the top end to some extent, and that could be a Charlie, it could be a Harry or whatever, to try and regenerate some capital, bring in experienced players that can play those roles that I've been talking about all episode, we're win now. If we go to the draft and that's it, and there's no there's no movement of, players out and players in during trade period to an extent where it's like, fuck, what are we doing? Then what you're going to know very quickly once trade period's over. You're going to know.
This is an interesting take here. I'm just thinking about it now. Not only did we get these drafts wrong, these players that we drafted are not only not at clubs, they're out of the league. Like O'Brien
Most of them, yeah.
Seaton are out of the league. Dow, I mean, okay, he's been horrifically injured. Fair. Fisher can't get a game at North Melbourne, even though they gave him a 4-year deal, whatever they did.
Stocker's the only one I can think of.
Yeah.
That's playing week in, week out.
That'll
And Kemp. And Brody.
Yeah. Tom's about to go flap his hair at St Kilda.
But Sauce is doing it again at St Kilda.
Yeah, good luck.
Like, seriously, he's doing it again. Name me one player that they've brought in that's really tearing the league apart right now. Naz. Outside of Naz. Sorry. I don't even know if he drafted him, but yeah, he probably didn't, to be honest. I think he's only been there a couple of years. Naz has been there a bit longer. So, I don't know. Yeah, there's got to be some responsibility there, but anyway.
Joel will tell us what happened. I'm going to believe Joel because Joel predicted this from way early out. Some certain players have fucked up our opportunity. I'm telling you. Maybe it's the ones that are leaving.
Hey, maybe we don't know. Yeah, everyone looked at Graham Wright as like this ruthless CEO that comes in, this ruthless administrator that looks at a list, and he has openly said that he's going to be involved in list discussions already at Carlton. Why aren't we believing that? Why wouldn't you believe that he sat down with key players and looked him in the eye and basically said, this is how it is from now on, and you're either for it or against, and if you're against, we'll find a home.
Where did you land with your list management last night? Do you have strong opinions on?
We went through every single player on the list.
And what was the consensus last night?
10 players we had.
10 players leaving.
10.
How many of those were in contract?
3 or 4.
Fuck. So we're going to go heavy to the draft and we've got to trade and pick up free agents.
Yep.
Fuck. 10?
10. But it's the 10 that I name, I could probably almost do it off the top of my head.
Go.
Sauce.
Okay.
Listen, everyone come to terms with Sauce and Tom. They're gone, right? So Sauce, Tom, McGovern, we have Charlie.
Doc.
Akers, Doc, Charlie, that's 6.
Rob Monahan.
And then there was Chincotta, Monahan, Duffy, that's 9. And the 10th was...
Jordan Boyd?
No, because he's in contract. Fuck, I can't remember. I can't remember who the 10th one was. But there was 10.
Here we go again.
No. I don't think it's a rebuild. This is what I'm saying. I think if it is 10 and it is players of the quality that are going to go, you can use the capital you're going to get to turn this around quickly and to bring in the right players as well as build on your youth and your depth that you've built. Not to mention, Brody comes back, Newman comes back, Jagger comes back. That's 3 inclusions next year that we didn't have this year. Top end inclusions. So, Fantasia, there you go. Yeah. Duke in the chat. Fantasia was the 10th.
Show. I go and record with Duke in his podcast studio a couple times a year. Oh mate, it gets pretty.
I've got to get it. He's asked me a couple of times. Well, we'll do it this off season.
You must. Must. It's like it's the most uncut I get in that studio. It's great.
Yeah, we'll let rip.
It's good stuff. Yeah. What are you? Yeah. How are you feeling about the next couple of weeks? Like, what happens now in your off season?
Well, just I don't know. Put the feet up. Try and drag the doona cover over me and sleep. I don't know. I'll just recharge. You just recharge a bit. Like, it was such a shit year that I've been hanging out for off season for the last 2 months. And to be fair, I was away for a lot of this season. I was away for like 2 months in Europe with Gab before we came back this time around. So I missed a lot of the energy around it. I wasn't here. I'd tune in for the game, I'd do the podcast, and that was it. Like that was all the footy I was consuming, and it still took a toll. It still took a toll. So I can only imagine how everyone else is feeling over it.
Yeah. I mean, doing the ratings when every week was just like everyone's in red. That was weird. Just I don't know. I think this year was just another reiteration of you have to learn how to detach. Oh, sorry, me. When I say you, I mean myself. Like I had to learn just how to detach, and like it's like pretty quickly became evident that this was not going to be a good year. And then it's like, all right, well, how much am I going to choose to let this fantasy that we all live in impact me in the real world? You know, that's John. It was nuclear.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I missed it. I missed a lot of that. So I can only imagine how everyone's feeling. I think just strap in. Yeah, done. Let's go. Honestly, I reckon we all just need to strap in. Strap in. I think just come to terms with very quickly that this club's going to look very different next year from round one. In whatever shape, way, or form that is, let go. Just let go of whatever your idea of this list in particular should be now. Let it go completely. It'll liberate you, I promise. Once you distance yourself from being emotionally invested in Charlie Curnow as your saviour, you're liberated. Trust me.
I don't have Charlie Curnow as my saviour. I have Charlie Curnow as a forward who can kick me 60 goals in a year when he's had a full preseason.
And when he's invested.
Well, when he's invested, yes. Yeah, of course.
So let's say he comes out. Let's say he comes out. Day one of trade period, his management say and release a public statement that you hear on Trade Radio, brought to you by Continental Tires. Charlie Curnow is seeking a trade away from the Carlton Football Club. Where does your mind go?
Well, I'd be disappointed because I think we've given Charlie all the liberties that he's wanted, but also at the same time, he's within his rights to demand a trade if he wants to go down that route.
It just won't surprise me whatever happens. And not just with him, but with whatever happens across the next 2 to 3 months at this football club.
Yeah,
I'm not going to let it surprise me.
I am preparing for anything. I'm going to try and not be shocked at anything that happens. So if it's Charlie, if it's whatever, if they end up going, well, they're not going to sack Voss, but what do you make of the Choco talk and the Ken Hinkley and the senior assistants and the football department being beefed up?
I'm in two minds. Paul Sebastiani made a good point to me when we backed in Voss. He said, well, if they were really all for him, why didn't they extend him? Was one question I didn't have an answer for when it came to Voss.
Well, maybe maybe it's a sign that Voss isn't the biggest of the issues that they've identified. Maybe there's more issues and you just let him.
And I agree with that. But if they were to bring in a Choco, a Ken, a Skipworth is one that has been raised. And I know Hayden Skipworth was one that his name was raised as a potential head coach when the talk around Voss was bubbling. If they come in, I can only look at it, unfortunately, on face value and say, are they preparing a plan B if we don't get results next year? Does that make sense?
Yeah, and they should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I tend to agree, and I would hope that would put the right sort of pressure and expectation on Voss, and that he embraced that challenge rather than dropped his bundle and went, oh, well, fuck it. Like, there's a plan B anyway. So if we're 0-3, let's give up the season, if that makes sense.
In theory, I don't think there's anything wrong with bringing in people around the head coach who are more senior than the head coach in terms of their experience and standing in the game. If anything, that's what you need. You need someone that's going to challenge the coach. So I think a lot of the time we look at the coach as again, maybe it's the Messiah complex, but like it's a one-man team and the buck stops with the coach and the coach has to be the genius. There's like 3 of them in the league that can actually handle that pressure. And even they have a pretty good team around them.
And when you think
it's a coaching team. That's what it is.
When you think about it, Melbourne did that with Choco. They got him in for Goodwin. He was really the most senior there. And even to an extent, Wright did it at Collingwood with McRae when he brought in Bolton. And I know Bolton wasn't a world beater as a head coach, but he was definitely more senior than McRae in terms of his standing in the game for as long as he was, and for his seniority in terms of the experience he had as a head coach. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Something that we've never done. Never. So, yeah, I mean, it could just be that's, that could be a key that unlocks it for Voss. He might just need some guidance from someone that's got a little bit more of a wise head. Who knows? I don't know about you. I still don't doubt Voss's ability to lead.
Yeah.
Like he still seems to me that he's a people person. So he'll get the most out of his people.
I look at leadership as how you conduct yourself when the pressure's on and things aren't going your way. And from that point,
and how do you think he conducted himself this year?
I'll give him. I mean, the level of heat. For the most part, I think he did pretty well.
Mm.
It ages you, man. It literally ages you. Like you look at Carlton coaches. I think I've done this exercise before. You look at Carlton coaches day one and then their last day. You just see in a space of years, it's like they've gone to war and back. So no, look, whatever. Let him see out his year. Build a better department. Get a better head of football and build a great department around the head coach. And if the head coach is that bad next year and you need to replace the head coach and you decide that at the end of his contract, you want to part ways, well, at least you've got a good department of assistant coaches around him. And then you bring in a coach and then you go again.
Well, you're right. Like if you get the right people around him and you turn over the list, and you not turn over, but you rid the list of players that can't perform for this club in whatever realm that looks like.
Mm-hmm.
If you change all of that and we're still not getting results, sure. Change your head coach. But, mate, I'm telling you now, if we get all of that right, there is more chance that we explode than bottom out. There just has to be. If you get all of those pieces around him right, because all of those pieces right now are not right, we can all agree on that. If you get all of that right, you've got way more chance of being successful than bottoming out next year.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Oh, no, this is just a retweet of the Tom Morris initial report. So, okay. This conversation around Charlie has only gone one way. What if he stays and what if it can be resolved and what if it can be the spark of the kick up the arse?
I'll tell you now, for it to be resolved, it's pretty easy. Charlie comes out tomorrow in a public statement and says, I'm putting this to bed. I'm not going anywhere.
But he did.
So, no, he did in a post-game. A bit different. I'm talking about on his own terms. He comes out, he makes a statement. Put it to bed. If it's really not true, okay, and you are a leader of the club that you've been appointed, come out tomorrow, put it to bed with your management. Put it to bed. And say, I like me and my management have it is categorically clear that I do not want to play my football anywhere other than the Carlton Football Club until the end of my contract.
Okay.
That's what puts it to bed.
I love all of this. I love it all. I love all of it. I actually love football again.
Yeah, same, because we're fucking sick. You know why? This is familiar now. This is actually familiar again. Yeah, we're sick people. We're damaged, man.
I love it, man. I love it. It's like all I'm used to is a broken home. Mummy and daddy are fighting all the time.
Toxic relationship. Yeah, I feed off the negativity. This is it. We're back. This is take you back to 5 years ago. We're back.
It's like you wouldn't even know a healthy relationship if it slapped you in the face.
No,
You know,
I don't know what. Actually, I've said this many times. I don't know what it means to love your football club. I've rarely experienced that. I hate them more. We all hate them more often than
Wow.
not. Think about it.
We need marriage counseling. We need family. We need family counseling.
Oh, mate. Honestly, we need God at this point. Need more than that. I don't know.
No, this is all
Anyway.
part of God's plan. It's the big test, you know? That's what it is. It's the big test that's been given.
Well, hey, I can name, if you want to talk about tests, you got Geelong, 06, they back in Bonner Thompson. They're in all sorts. They go on and make a dynasty. Hawthorn on the brink of sacking Clarkson. One Sam Mitchell tackle saves his career. They go and make a dynasty with Clarkson. He becomes the greatest coach of all time. Hardwick, he's got 8 years or 7 years under his belt as head coach. Doesn't do anything. Goes backwards. They back him in. Dynasty. Goodwin makes a prelim. Falls to last or bottom 4 or whatever it was. Win a flag. There's plenty of examples where what we're doing now works. We'll see. We'll see.
We'll get there one day.
No, I disagree, John. I hate this club some days. Genuinely hate these. I do. I can absolutely say it. I hate this club some days.
Be careful. Your words are spells, you know?
True. If you believe in that shit.
Hey, it's why it's called spelling.
True, actually. That's not bad. That's a good point. Fair. I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
What is your off-season plan? Are you going away? What is your
Nah.
getaway from footy plans?
No, we might just go do some hiking.
Yep.
I think we're going to take a drive up the east coast, go to Jarvis Bay, New South Wales, maybe. Gab's brother lives up in Gold Coast, so we might go up there for a weekend or two and just put the feet up. You're off.
Yeah, I'm gonna go after draft. I'll be out of here.
That's it.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here. Hopefully, no January updates. But before you go, you want to predict? Want to predict some things with me?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. I'm assuming you're going to tip the Gold Coast Suns to win this week.
Yes.
Question is by how much?
That will be 40 plus.
We'll say 40.
Probably 60, to be honest. But anyway.
All right. So, shit. All right. This is your finals prediction, Joe. Who wins in the first round here?
Adelaide.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, you're anti-Collingwood, like hardcore.
Yep. Next game.
GWS Hawthorn.
Oh, that's tough, man. That's going to be a cracker. I'm going to say the Hawks. I think they're going to be hungry. Yeah, I think they're going to be hungry.
All right. Fremantle at home to Gold Coast.
Freo. They've got the best record against the top half going into these finals. I reckon they'll make a big run. Big run.
Geelong, Brisbane, MCG.
Oh, it's just another good game. It's Geelong.
Collingwood, Hawthorn, MCG.
Go
on, put him in a prelim.
Hawks.
Really?
Fuck it, they're done. They're dead in the water. They could barely beat Melbourne, mate. We beat Melbourne. We're shit.
Joe, you got to be careful, man. They come for you.
Hawthorn, they can come for me. I don't give a shit. They're rubbish. They're done. They're finished. They're speaking like we were last year going to the elimination final. McRae's coming out today going, oh, it's a new season. Anything can happen. We said that last year and we got belted by 10 goals in the first half against Brisbane. They're done. Finished. Hawks.
Brisbane, Freo at the Gabba.
Brisbane. As much as I'd love that to be Freo, Brisbane.
All right. Adelaide, Brisbane at the Adelaide Oval prelim.
Brisbane.
And then Geelong, Hawthorn, MCG.
Oh, actually, Brisbane are under a bit of injury pressure, aren't they?
Lockie Neal will probably be back by then.
He will. Yeah, Brisbane. Geelong.
Damn. And then?
I'd love to say Brisbane back to back. but Geelong just looks so ready. Like, they just do. We've seen this from Geelong so many times now at this point in the season under Scott. Like, they just don't look like they're gonna. They just don't look like they're gonna fall over. They really don't. Geelong. It'll be the Cats.
You're the first one. There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
We'll see.
Joe, that was great, mate. That was actually there was a bit in that tonight.
Passion.
Yeah, there was a bit in that tonight. There really was.
Well, it was good to be back on this show. It's been a while, but yeah, I mean, the podcast is done, but whenever you need me, mate, on a Monday, I've got nothing else to do. So
Yeah,
I know this show's still going to go. So let me know.
I'm gonna have some random shows coming up midweek because there's no team shows and things like that. So like, I'll get you involved. But yeah, mate, thanks for being here as always. Thanks to those of you who are tuning in. Thanks for being here as well. Stay tuned because you never know. The next update could be tomorrow morning. It could be, I don't know. There's exit interviews happening this week. So there'll be a lot of reports coming out. Stay strong and make sure you critically analyze articles. That would be my best tip of the week. Read articles and critically analyze the articles before just reading the headlines. I think that's what we should.
And not just for football as well, but we won't get into that now.
Oh,
yeah. I think everyone needs to do that just in general.
Yeah. All right, guys. Good night.